I recently read Who, Not How by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. If you had the power to snap your fingers and instantly achieve a goal you wanted to achieve this year, what would it be? By eliminating all the potential struggle, confusion, and steps needed to achieve something, it becomes easier to determine what you really want. But after deciding what you want, don't make the mistake of asking, how can I achieve it? Thinking how generates overwhelm. You feel like there's a mountain of skills you need to improve, knowledge you need to obtain, and tasks you need to complete on your own. Thinking how turns inspiration into procrastination. But thankfully, there's a much better question to ask, and that's, who can help me achieve my goal? When you replace how with who, that mountain becomes a molehill as you start thinking of people who can take the 90 or so steps out of the 100 away, either by doing them for you or showing you a better way. Suddenly you feel less overwhelmed, and a seemingly impossible goal feels achievable. Now the who and who can help me achieve my goal can take one of three forms. They can be a liberator, a collaborator, or a supporter. A liberator is someone you can hire to handle the low-hanging decisions and reduce decision fatigue so you can perform at your peak and do what you do best. Author Benjamin Hardy discovered the power of a liberator the hard way. When he launched his first book, he was doing everything himself, scheduling media, coordinating with publishers, and managing every detail of the launch. By launch day, he was completely exhausted, and the book failed to make the bestseller list. For his second book, he hired Connie, and Connie handled all his podcast scheduling. Her only job was to get him 200 podcasts and make the process effortless. Hardy just woke up each day and found 5 podcasts in his schedule and a prep sheet for each podcast in his inbox. No decisions, no mental drain, just show up fresh and perform. The result was massive, and his book took off. The second type of who is the collaborator. Karen Nance was spending years writing her grandmother's biography, a prominent civil rights activist in the 1920s, but only had 200 scattered pages of a draft. Then she learned that a history professor was writing the same biography and was already a few chapters in. Karen's instinct was to protect her insider knowledge and race to finish. But working full-time as an attorney in San Francisco made that impossible. So she thought, who, not how, and wondered, what if we teamed up and co-authored the book together? Karen had the stories, but the professor had the expertise, publishing connections, and the time that Karen lacked. By collaborating instead of competing, Karen honored her grandmother with a far better book than she could have created alone. Now, the last type of who to consider in achieving a big goal is someone working on a similar goal that you trust. This who, which we'll call the supporter, can raise your commitment and give you the advice and encouragement you need to cross the finish line. J.R.R. Tolkien is often thought of as a lone genius, but without fellow author C.S. Lewis's constant enthusiasm for his work and critical feedback, Tolkien might never have completed The Lord of the Rings. Late in his life, he wrote, "Lewis was for long my only audience. Only from him did I ever get the idea that my stuff could be more than a private hobby." Inviting the right who's into your pursuits will expand your ability to achieve more, to help more people, and to live with more purpose. Unfortunately, most of us are silently suffering and shrinking our goals because we keep asking, how can I achieve this, rather than, who can help me achieve this? But why? Why is it more common for people to ask how instead of who? Well, for starters, we're praised for being self-reliant, and we're told in school that getting help from others is a form of cheating. And when it comes to asking people to help liberate our time and complete tasks that we could do, we stop ourselves because of 2 limiting beliefs. Getting help costs too much, and managing people is a nightmare. Let's tackle them one at a time. Limiting belief number 1. Getting help costs too much. Imagine you've just launched a new business, and you need to work on your website. You do some research and find that a good web developer will cost about $2,000. That cost seems steep, so you think, I could just do it myself for free. But that free is the most expensive option you have. When you choose to do something yourself, you prevent 2 compounding curves from starting. The first is the 10x contributor curve. Your who doesn't just execute tasks that you could do. Over time, they often do it much smarter, more creatively, and generate more opportunities that you wouldn't have found the time to generate. Paying a sales manager $100,000 a year may seem like something you can't afford, until you consider that with their constant focus on generating sales, they could bring in an average of $1 million a year in sales profit over the next 3 years. The second curve to consider is your 10x genius curve. When you're freed up from annoying tasks that cause decision fatigue, you have the energy and time to get world-class in something that will have a huge payoff in 3 years. Just imagine freeing up 10 hours a week to focus deeply on one skill that people already pay you for. Might you become the top 1% at that skill and build a reputation that earns you 10 times more career opportunities or income? Whenever you think about the cost of finding someone to help you on a goal, stop asking, "Can I afford to get help here?" and start asking, "How can I afford to not get help here?" Think of the two compounding curves. The first that they slowly build to produce amazing results, and the second that they allow you to build to produce amazing results. Just as those curves start small, you should also start small and invest just $500 over the next 90 days to start freeing up your time. If they exceed your expectations, slowly increase your budget. Limiting belief number 2. Managing people is a nightmare. For a lot of people, especially introverts, the thought of managing people triggers anxiety. You imagine a type of hell that includes constant emails, hand-holding, and rework. But the secret to avoiding this management hell is just 3 words: clarity, autonomy, and fit. Micromanagement is a symptom of unclear expectations. If, before you hand off any task, you force yourself to articulate these 3 things extremely well, you won't need to micromanage. 1. What I hope to accomplish. This is the impact you want the task to have. Explaining this increases motivation and engagement. 2. What complete looks like. And 3. Specific success criteria. List at least 5 key results. Once clarity exists, get out of the way and give them a high degree of autonomy. In the book, Hardy writes, research has found that teams who have high levels of autonomy but low goal clarity, as well as little performance feedback, actually perform worse than teams with low autonomy. However, when a team has 1. High autonomy, 2. High goal clarity, and 3. Gets regular feedback on their results, their performance shoots through the roof. Therefore, tell someone exactly what you want, and then let them surprise you with how they do it. If you're not pleasantly surprised by someone's results after a few weeks, move on to someone else. Never settle. Working with the right who should feel natural and easy. If it's a struggle, it's the wrong person. Keep looking until you find someone who is the right fit. Someone who gets it, owns it, and executes surprisingly well. With clarity, autonomy, and fit, you can stop thinking, I don't want to manage people, and start thinking, when I find the right person, I'll have the freedom to do the work that I do best. In the end, big goals feel less daunting once you start asking, who can help me achieve this? Start by looking for supporters who give you the encouragement and advice you need to get started, and then be open to the idea of collaborating with people who might seem like competitors. Then always be looking for people who can liberate your time so you can focus on what you do best and achieve 10x results. As Dan Sullivan likes to say, delegate everything except your genius. That was the core message that I gathered from Who, Not How. This book got me to think about getting help in a whole new way. I highly recommend it. If you would like a 1-page PDF summary of the insights that I gathered from this book, just click the link in the description below and I'll email it to you. If you've already signed up for the free Productivity Game newsletter, this PDF is sitting in your inbox.